I live with a guy named Nate. We rent a 2-bedroom apartment in Portland. Chill guy, tech job, keeps to himself. For the past few weeks, I'd hear him get up at 3 a.m., doors creaking, footsteps, microwave beeping. Annoying, but I never said anything. One night I ran into him in the hallway. Told him to cut the late-night cooking. He just stared. "I've been out of town for 3 weeks. Business trip," he said. I laughed. Thought he was joking. He wasn't. His room had a thin layer of dust. Nothing disturbed. Food in the fridge untouched. But that night, at exactly 3 a.m., I heard it again. Microwave beep. Footsteps. Then, something else. The sound of breathing right outside my door. I opened it fast. No one. Except Nate's door was now slightly open. Inside, on the bed, was a shape. A figure under the blanket. I called Nate. He picked up, FaceTime from a hotel lobby in Tokyo. On the screen, I watched in real time as the blanket moved. Something underneath it shifted, sat up, and slowly turned toward me. I closed the door and haven't opened it since. I live with a guy named Nate. We rent a 2-bedroom apartment in Portland. Chill guy, tech job, keeps to himself. For the past few weeks, I'd hear him get up at 3 a.m., doors creaking, footsteps, microwave beeping. Annoying, but I never said anything. One night I ran into him in the hallway. Told him to cut the late-night cooking. He just stared. "I've been out of town for 3 weeks. Business trip," he said. I laughed. Thought he was joking. He wasn't. His room had a thin layer of dust. Nothing disturbed. Food in the fridge untouched. But that night, at exactly 3 a.m., I heard it again. Microwave beep. Footsteps. Then, something else. The sound of breathing right outside my door. I opened it fast. No one. Except Nate's door was now slightly open. Inside, on the bed, was a shape. A figure under the blanket. I called Nate. He picked up, FaceTime from a hotel lobby in Tokyo. On the screen, I watched in real time as the blanket moved. Something underneath it shifted, sat up, and slowly turned toward me. I closed the door and haven't opened it since. I live alone. 3rd floor. 1 entrance. Deadbolt always locked. I'm paranoid like that. A few nights ago, I woke up to find my front door wide open. No sign of forced entry. Nothing stolen. Just open. I checked my Ring camera. At 2:41 a.m., I walked to the door and unlocked it. Smiling. Except, I don't remember doing that. I was in bed the whole night. I thought maybe I was sleepwalking. Until I watched the footage again, frame by frame. There's a point, right before I open the door, where I lean in, like I'm whispering to someone on the other side. I even nod. Then, slowly, I step aside. Like I'm letting someone in. But the hallway was empty. I turned up the brightness, sharpened the image. There's a shape in the shadows. Tall. Thin. Watching me. The next night, my phone lit up at 2:41 a.m. "You awake?" No number. Just those 2 words. And then a photo. Me. Sleeping. Taken from the end of my bed. When I moved into this apartment, the rent was absurdly cheap for the neighborhood. The landlord, an old guy with smoker's lungs and shaky hands, only gave me one rule. Don't open the mail slot in the door. Not a peephole. A mail slot, the kind you lift from the inside. I thought it was weird, but whatever. First night I heard it. Around 1:34 a.m., something slipped a letter through. It slid across the floor to a dead stop in front of my bed. No name on it. Just my apartment number. Handwritten. I didn't open it. Next night, it happened again. And again. Always 1:34 a.m. always perfectly slid to my bed. I finally opened one. Inside. Don't pretend you don't hear me. You're in my home. I confronted the landlord. He lit a cigarette with trembling fingers and said, "You're not the first to get the mail. The last guy never left. Just started slipping notes from inside the walls." I thought he was insane. But then I did something stupid. I opened the mail slot at 1:33 a.m. to see what was on the other side. There was an eye. Waiting. Unblinking. Bloodshot. It blinked only after I slammed it shut. Now I get more letters. But they're not slid through anymore. They're already inside. Pinned to my pillow. Taped to my mirror. One was in my fridge. Last night's note said, "Thank you for letting me back in." Amber worked night security at a local department store. Quiet shifts, no customers, nothing much to do but watch the CCTV feed and scroll Reddit. One night, just before closing, she saw herself enter the store on camera. Same clothes. Same bag. Same limp in her right foot. But she was still in the security booth, watching. She rewound. Played it again. There she was, on-screen Amber, walking slowly down aisle 3. Looking up at the camera. Smiling. Amber called the manager, who brushed it off. Weird glitch. Overlapping recordings or something. But then, camera 6, glitched again. Amber on camera now stood in the children's toy aisle. Still smiling. Holding something behind her back. Amber checked her phone's timestamp. The footage was 10 minutes in the future. She watched in horror as future Amber turned slowly toward the camera and held up a crowbar. Same one from the supply closet. Same red paint along the handle. Then, on screen, she started walking toward the security booth. Amber turned. No one was there. But then her phone buzzed. One new message. Open the door. It was from her own number. She left the building. Quit the job. Told herself it was a breakdown. But sometimes, late at night, she gets texts from that number. Images. Footage from the booth. And in every one, she's still sitting there. Still watching. Still smiling.
My daughter, June, is 2.5. Beautiful. Bright. Funny. She started talking early. By 15 months, she was stringing together phrases. The pediatrician called her gifted, but now I'm not so sure. Lately, she's been saying things she shouldn't know. Words that don't make sense. Sentences that sound rehearsed. 2 nights ago, I tucked her in and kissed her forehead. She looked at me and said, completely calm, "Mommy, do you remember when I drowned in the river?" I froze. She's never been near a river. I asked what she meant. She said, "The rocks were cold." My head went under. You screamed. Her voice was flat, not frightened, just stating a fact. The next day, I caught her drawing in her room. A little house. A woman in a blue dress. I was wearing blue. And a body in the water with red scribbled all around the head. That night, she crawled into my bed shaking. Said she'd had a bad remembering. I asked if it was a dream. She shook her head. It was the barn this time. The fire one. I burned for so long. She's 2. She shouldn't know what that means. She started listing names: Ellen, Joseph, Maggie. I looked them up. There was a fire in 1913. A family died in a barn collapse. Every name matched. Last night, as I rocked her to sleep, she whispered, "Soon I'll be all the way me again," and smiled. This started 3 nights ago, and I'm already running on caffeine and paranoia. I haven't slept more than an hour since. I can't. I have a 6-month-old son, Caleb. He sleeps in a crib in the next room, and like most overly anxious new moms, I keep a baby monitor running at all times. It's one of those video ones with night vision and 2-way audio. Simple setup. Nothing fancy. The first night, I woke up to white noise, just a faint static hissing from the monitor. It happens sometimes when the Wi-Fi flickers. I glanced at the screen and saw Caleb asleep, peaceful. But then I heard it. A whisper. Not a word, not at first. Just the sound of someone breathing into the mic shallow. Close. I thought maybe I was hearing my own breath or interference, so I muted it and went back to bed. The second night, the breathing was back, but louder. Wet, rattling, like whoever it was had fluid in their lungs. Then came a voice. It whispered, "Don't let him wake up." I froze. My husband was on a business trip, still gone. No one else was in the house. I ran to Caleb's room, heart in my throat, holding my breath. He was asleep. Alone. The door was still locked from the inside. I always lock it with a baby-proof knob to keep the cats out. No sign of anyone. I thought I was losing my mind. Last night, it got worse. At 3:12 a.m., the monitor screen lit up on its own. Full volume. And the voice came back. Clearer this time. Closer. It whispered, "He's not yours." I sprinted into the room. Caleb was sitting up, silent, staring directly into the lens of the baby monitor. He never sits up on his own. Not yet. I picked him up and ran out of the house barefoot. Sat in my car until sunrise with him pressed against my chest. Today, I checked the monitor's SD card. I didn't even realize it had been recording. There were 4 saved clips. The last one, from last night, shows something that made my stomach turn. At exactly 3:10 a.m. The video shows Caleb asleep in his crib. Then he slowly lifts his head and looks at the camera, eyes wide open. But there's something else. In the corner of the screen, behind the crib, barely visible in the night vision, is a hand. Pale, thin, crawling across the floor, toward him. Then the screen cuts to black. The monitor is unplugged now. I don't know what to do, but it's 3:07 a.m. as I write this. And Caleb just started crying. But when I listen through the door, it's not his voice,